Please, young man, please don't leave. I can't get up. I can't breathe. Please, ma'am, I don't want to die here.
Ma'am, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Ma'am?
A gas station, late November, freezing cold. An old woman lying on the ground. Darius stopped.
Ma'am? I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I need water. I have medicine, but I can't swallow it without water. Please.
He looked at the crumpled dollar bill in his hand. His last dollar. The money he had for his sick grandmother at home. But he had bought water for the old woman at the gas station, a black boy, using his last dollar to help an old woman he had never met. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know who her son was. But the next day, her billionaire son appeared at his door. Most people in Darius's neighborhood had already given up on dreaming. But Darius couldn't afford to stop. 5:15 a.m., Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Darius opened his eyes on the pull-out couch. Springs dug into his back. The heater rattled, but barely pushed warm air past the kitchen. He slept in the living room because the second bedroom belonged to his grandmother's medical equipment now. Oxygen concentrator, blood sugar monitor, boxes of insulin pens stacked on a folding table. He swung his legs off the couch, bare feet on cold floor. Same routine, every single day. 2 packets of instant oatmeal, one for him, one for Loretta. He added cinnamon to hers, the way she liked it, and set it on a tray with her morning pills. 4 pills, lined up in a row. He'd memorized the order by the time he was 15. He carried the tray to her room. She was already awake, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Some mornings she looked strong. This wasn't one of those mornings. "Morning, Grandma." "Morning, baby." Her voice was thin. She tried to sit up. Darius put the tray down, slid his arm behind her back, and lifted her gently against the pillows. She weighed less than she used to. He noticed that. He didn't say it. He ate his own oatmeal standing up at the kitchen sink, no chair, eating fast. Already running numbers in his head, he glanced at the mason jar on top of the fridge. $38 left. Electric bill, 2 weeks overdue. Loretta's insulin refill, due in 4 days. He didn't have enough for both. He never had enough for both. Next to the jar, held by a chipped pelican magnet, was a letter. Faded, creased soft from being folded and refolded too many times. An acceptance letter from the local community college. Pre-engineering program. Every morning, Darius touched that letter with one fingertip. Lightly. Like a prayer he couldn't say out loud. He was accepted. He just couldn't go. 40-minute walk to work. No bus fare. Cracked sidewalks. Boarded up storefronts with faded "for lease" signs nobody would ever call about. A church with a banner. Free meals Saturdays. Kids on the street who should have been in school. He passed Brenda Collins on her porch, watering her one surviving plant. "You eatin', baby?" "Yes, ma'am." He smiled, nodded, lied. He kept walking, and his mind went where it always went. His mother. She left when he was 4. Walked out the front door with a duffel bag. Didn't come back. Didn't call. Didn't write. He didn't hold anger. Anger takes energy he couldn't spare. He held something quieter. A question he'd carried since he was 4 years old, tucked behind his ribs like a stone. Was I not enough? He never said it out loud. Loretta filled the space. She became his mother, his father, his everything. He owed her more than he could ever repay. The car wash sat off Highway 61, Hand wash only, cash only. $6.50 an hour, under the table. Darius scrubbed SUVs and sedans alongside his best friend, TJ. Most customers didn't tip. Some didn't even look at them. One man in a Mercedes tossed his keys at Darius without making eye contact, like handing something to furniture. Darius caught the keys, said nothing, washed the car until it shone. During break, he leaned against the cinder block wall and pulled out a small composition notebook, dog-eared, water-stained, filled with pencil sketches, engines, suspension systems, a redesigned sprinkler nozzle that would use less water and hit wider coverage. TJ leaned over and squinted at a drawing. "Bro, you gonna be the first engineer to smell like tire shine?" Darius laughed. But the notebook mattered to him. It was proof, to himself if no one else, that he was more than this, that his mind worked in ways that deserved a chance. One day, maybe, if the numbers ever added up. End of shift. The owner counted out $26 in small bills. Darius peeled off 25, tucked them into his sock. The insulin fund. He kept $1, a single folded bill in his front pocket, just in case. Evening. Home. Loretta was having a rough night. Her blood sugar had spiked. Darius checked her monitor, adjusted her pillows, heated a can of soup and poured it into her favorite mug, the one with the faded sunflower on the side. She ate slowly, hands shaking around the mug. A little soup spilled on the blanket. She looked embarrassed. Darius wiped it without a word, like it was nothing, like it didn't break his heart a little every time. When she finished, she reached out and squeezed his hand.
"You're the best thing I ever did, Darius."
He wanted to say something back, something big enough to match what she meant to him, but the words stuck in his throat. So he just squeezed her hand and nodded. He sat on the porch afterward, alone, staring at the empty street. The streetlight flickered on and off. A dog barked somewhere far away. The air was already getting cold. He was 18 years old. He should have been thinking about college, about a future that stretched wide open. Instead, he was calculating whether the pharmacy would let him split a payment on insulin. But Darius Henderson never complained. He didn't have time to complain. He just kept going. And he had no idea that tomorrow night, on his walk home from this exact routine, everything was about to change. Because of $1 and one stranger he hadn't met yet. But what he didn't know was, he almost walked past her. Almost. And if he had, none of this would have ever happened. Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. The temperature had dropped fast. An unusual cold snap for Baton Rouge, the kind that punishes because Louisiana isn't supposed to get this cold. Darius was walking home from his second job, 3 hours unloading crates at a corner grocery, $10 cash. His back ached. His hands were stiff. He was tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. He detoured to a gas station to buy a bottle of water for Loretta. She'd asked him that morning. Just water. The one thing he could still give her. $1 in his pocket. Exactly enough. The streets were mostly empty. The fluorescent lights of the gas station hummed low. A few cars at the pumps. Inside, the clerk was scrolling his phone. The world was minding its own business. And then he heard it. "Help! Somebody! Please!" Weak, almost swallowed by the wind. "Please! I can't get up." He turned his head. An elderly white woman, half collapsed on the curb near the air pump. Wool coat, one shoe missing on the cold asphalt. her hands trembling violently, one pressed against her chest, the other bracing against the concrete, white-knuckled, trying to hold herself upright. Her face was ashen gray, eyes half-closed, glassy, shivering so hard her teeth chattered. Her lips were turning blue. Not pale, blue. She was murmuring a name, maybe her son's, maybe her late husband's. She didn't know where she was. Her breathing came in short, ragged gasps, each one shallower than the last, each one sounding like it could be the final one. For a 74-year-old woman on freezing concrete, hypothermia wasn't a possibility. It was a countdown. A man in a pickup truck glanced through his windshield, saw her, pulled out of the lot. A woman with a stroller looked at the old woman, looked away, walked faster. A teenager on a bicycle rode past without slowing down. 3 people, 3 chances. Nobody stopped. Darius stood at the edge of the parking lot. Every practical instinct said, keep walking. He had $1. His own grandmother was waiting for water at home. This woman wasn't his responsibility. A voice in his head, not cruel, just honest, said, you can't save everyone. You can barely save yourself. But there was another voice, Loretta's voice, the one wired into who he was. If you can help, you help. That's the rent you pay for being alive. He looked at the woman again. She reminded him of Loretta, the thin arms, the fragile frame. The way her body was fighting a battle it was slowly losing. And a thought hit him in the chest like a fist. This could be Grandma one day. Alone, on cold ground, hoping somebody would stop. Then the woman slumped further. Her eyes rolled shut. Her hand slid off the curb. Her body tilted forward, slowly, like a building starting to fall. If she went down, she'd hit concrete face first. Darius broke into a run. He caught her just in time, one hand on her shoulder, the other steadying her back. She was light, fragile, bones through wool. Her skin was ice cold. "Ma'am, can you hear me? Stay with me." Her eyes opened, cloudy, panicked, then slowly focusing on his face. She gripped his sleeve with surprising force, the grip of someone terrified. "Please, don't leave me. I can't find my phone. I don't know how I got here." "It's okay, ma'am. I got you. You're going to be okay." He found her shoe nearby, slid it gently back onto her foot. Her skin was so cold, it didn't feel like skin anymore. As she shifted, something fell from her coat pocket. A handkerchief, white, monogrammed in gold thread, the initials E.W. Darius picked it up and tucked it into his pocket. He'd give it back later. "I'm so scared," she whispered. "I know, ma'am, but I'm here now. You're not alone." Even through her confusion, something about this woman was different. When she whispered, "Thank you," the word carried a weight that didn't match the situation. Not weak, practiced. Like someone used to rooms where every word mattered. Her body was failing, but she held herself with a quiet dignity nothing could erase. Inside the store, the clerk had noticed them through the glass. He made no move to come outside. The cold was getting worse, and her shivering was starting to fade. That was worse. When a hypothermic body stops shivering, it means it's given up. Darius looked at the store, looked at the woman, looked at the single dollar in his pocket, and made a decision that would change everything. But what happened next wasn't just about kindness. It was about what kindness costs when the world decides you don't look like a hero. What Darius did next cost him everything he had. And what happened after almost cost him his freedom. He pulled off his hoodie, his only warm layer, and draped it around Eleanor's shoulders. She tried to push it back. He shook his head. "I run hot. I'm fine." He was shivering within seconds. He helped her to her feet. Her legs buckled immediately. He caught her again, repositioned her weight against his side, let her grip his arm. Slowly, one careful step at a time, he walked her toward the store entrance. That's when everything almost fell apart. A white man stepped out of the store holding a six-pack, mid-40s, work boots. Dale Crawford. He took one look at what was in front of him and froze. What Dale saw: a young black teenager gripping a disoriented, barely standing elderly white woman. His brain filled in the rest. Dale blocked the doorway, chest forward, jaw set, feet planted. "Hey! Hey! What are you doing to her?" Darius stopped. His stomach dropped. Not because the words were new, because they were familiar. He knew this tone. He'd heard it in stores when security followed him down aisles, on sidewalks when women clutched their purses, from people who had already decided what he was before he ever opened his mouth. "I'm helping her, sir. She fell. She needs to sit down." Dale didn't move. He leaned closer to Eleanor. "Ma'am, is this kid bothering you? Did he hurt you?" Eleanor murmured something inaudible. Her hand tightened on Darius's arm, not pulling away, pulling closer. But Dale didn't read trust. He read fear. He pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the cops." 3 words. That's all it takes. 3 words, and suddenly you're not a person helping someone. You're a suspect. You're a threat. You're a headline. Darius's heart hammered. Every survival instinct, the one every black kid in America learns before they learn algebra, screamed at him to let go. Step back. Disappear. He knew how this looked. He knew how this ended for people who looked like him. A misunderstanding. A phone call. Blue lights. Handcuffs. Or worse. The smart move was to walk away. The safe move. The move that protects you. But Eleanor was leaning on him, all of her weight. If he let go, she'd fall. Her legs couldn't hold her. She was still gasping, still blue at the lips, still gripping his sleeve like he was the only thing between her and the ground. Walk away and protect yourself. Or stay and protect her. There was no option where he protected both. Darius looked at Dale, looked at the phone in his hand, looked at Eleanor's face, ashen, eyes barely open, mouth still trying to form words. He chose. He didn't let go. "Sir, please, look at her. She's freezing. She needs help. I'm just trying to get her inside. You can call whoever you want, but please let me get her to a chair first." His voice didn't shake. His hands did, but his voice held steady. Randy Foster appeared at the door. He'd been watching through the glass the entire time. For a long, awful beat, he said nothing. Darius's future hung in that silence. One word from Randy, one shrug, one, "I don't know what happened," and everything changes. Then Randy spoke. "The kid's been helping her. I saw him from inside. Leave him alone." Dale hesitated, looked from Darius to Randy to Eleanor, slowly lowered his phone, didn't apologize, didn't say a word, just stepped aside and walked to his truck. The engine started. The truck pulled away. Darius exhaled, long and slow. His hands were shaking, not from the cold, from the adrenaline, from the familiar, exhausting sting of being seen as a threat when all he wanted to do was help. He walked Eleanor inside, set her down gently against the counter, and didn't say a single word about what had just happened. He focused entirely on her. I need my medicine, Eleanor whispered. My heart. I have pills, but I can't swallow them without water. Please. Darius looked at the water bottles in the cooler. The cheapest one, $1.09. He had $1. He turned to Randy. Can I get a water for her? I'm a dime short. Randy shrugged. Price is the price. Darius looked at the crumpled bill in his hand. This dollar was for Loretta, her water, the one thing she'd asked for that morning, the one thing he'd promised himself he could give her today. And now a stranger needed it more. He put it on the counter. I'll figure out the dime. Something passed across Randy's face. Maybe shame. Maybe recognition. He waved the dime off, slid the water across the counter without a word. Darius opened the bottle, helped Eleanor drink, small, careful sips. Her trembling hands found a pill case clipped to an inner seam of her coat. Her emergency heart medication had been on her the whole time. She just couldn't find it in her confusion. He helped her take it, held the water steady while she swallowed, waited, watched her face, counted her breaths without realizing he was doing it. Then he stayed. 30 minutes. He didn't check the time, didn't mention needing to leave. He talked to her softly, asked her name, where she lived, if there was someone he could call. Eleanor, she said. My name is Eleanor. She was out for a walk. She got confused. It happened sometimes. More often now than before. He noticed things about her. Her wedding ring. Not flashy, but heavy. Real. Her shoes. Italian leather, scuffed, but expensive. The kind of shoes that cost more than he made in a month. He didn't comment. It didn't matter. Rich or poor, old or young, she was a person who needed help. That was all he needed to know. He asked Randy to call for help. Randy dialed non-emergency. They waited. Slowly, color returned to Eleanor's face. Her breathing steadied. Her shivering came back, which meant her body was fighting again. She reached out and took Darius's hand. Not weakly, firmly. She looked at him with full clarity for the first time. What's your name, sweetheart? Darius, ma'am. Darius. She repeated it slowly, like she was filing it somewhere important, somewhere she wouldn't lose it. You're a good young man. He didn't know what to say to that, so he just held her hand a little tighter. Eleanor tried to repay him 3 different ways. Darius turned down every single one. As her composure returned, breathing steady, color back in her cheeks, eyes finally clear, Eleanor reached into her coat. From an inner pocket, she pulled out a folded $100 bill. Emergency cash. Crisp. The kind of bill you keep on your person for exactly this kind of moment. She held it out to Darius. Her hand was steady now. Her voice was clear. Please, take this. You've done more than you know. Darius shook his head. I didn't help you for money, ma'am. I insist. Please. You gave me your last dollar. At least let me... No, ma'am. Gentle, but firm. You needed help. That's it. She looked at him. A long look. The kind of look that isn't just seeing, it's studying, measuring, trying to understand how someone like this exists in a world like this. She tried again, reached for his hand and pressed it between both of hers. Then tell me how I can find you. Let me send you something, a proper thank you, anything. Darius gently slid his hand free. Ma'am, honestly, knowing you're okay is enough. I just hope someone would do the same for my grandma one day. Eleanor's expression shifted. Something moved behind her eyes, deeper than gratitude. Recognition. Like she was recalibrating everything she thought she knew about how the world worked. She opened her mouth, closed it, nodded once, slowly, like making a promise to herself. Then the black sedan appeared. It pulled up to the curb outside the store. Sleek, silent, tinted windows so dark they looked like polished obsidian. A driver in a dark suit stepped out. Not rushing, not casual, precise. He walked into the store, eyes scanning the room until they found Eleanor. He approached her and spoke quietly, deferentially, the way you speak to someone you serve. Mrs. Whitfield, we've been looking for you. Not ma'am, not miss. Mrs. Whitfield, said with weight, with respect, the way you address someone of importance. The driver didn't acknowledge Darius, didn't look at him, didn't thank him. He helped Eleanor to her feet, taking over smoothly, professionally, like this was a protocol he'd rehearsed. Eleanor allowed it, but she turned back one more time. She looked at Darius, and she said his name, his full name.
Darius Henderson.
Slowly, deliberately, like she was carving it into stone. I won't forget you. The driver guided her out, into the sedan. The door closed with a soft, expensive click. The car pulled away into the dark, silent. Darius stood in the gas station and watched it disappear. He'd never seen a car like that on his street, never seen a driver in a suit, never heard someone's name spoken with that kind of deference. But he didn't dwell on it. Rich people existed. They just didn't usually exist in his world. He looked down. His hands were still shaking. His hoodie was gone. His dollar was gone. Loretta's water was gone. And he still had Eleanor's handkerchief in his pocket. He'd forgotten to give it back. He walked home in the cold. No hoodie,